But yeah, my guess is these three things are going to be each related to, like, each order's, like, way that they affect all this. But, yeah. Oh well, let's see what Grimm's grimmed plan is.
The unending dream the Order sought to make. It must have happened as I made my way to face Magusa.
Well, that would make sense, because they know who you are, so...
Persapius sat stock still, holding his head and mumbling to himself. The souls of the dead inhabit this illusory world too, provided they dwell in living flesh. Persapius remembered.
You know, I'm already dead. I was killed.
But, like, if that's accurate, that means, like, everyone in my fucking arm is healed. Like, everyone who's been killed by everyone's healed.
It happened just before this illusion consumed us. He rose against Magusa, bringer of the world's end, but failed and paid the price. Terwin then swept in and sacrificed the old man. He was just a soul now, bound to her right arm.
I cannot remember anything new.
No, not even his own death. And so the Ars Magica passed to Grimm, and they took action. The world around me was illusion. As soon as I realized, I found myself surrounded.
And again, lizard, like, this is, like, I think the third time we fought lizard people. Actually, you know, after this, I need to see if they have a, like, because we don't know anything really about these lizard people. It just randomly one mission is like, oh, lizard people. Wait, a magic created by Alice? See, that makes me wonder if we're gonna meet some, you know, other people. Is he gonna still be fighting with me? Or am I just by myself this time? So, I guess this is just part of this illusion, then. It's awfully breezy around here. Oh, I guess he's still with me.
I see. It was too late.
So, this is to be our victim.
That lizard has hair. What's up with that, bro?
It'll take more than that.
I'm not gonna let old age get to me.
This thing can't kill me.
Well, he's definitely not putting up a good fight like the other one. The other one, like I said, at least he actually did some good damage. This one don't seem to really be doing that well, so...
Heed your elders and watch yourself.
Finally gets hits him.
I leave the rest.
There's more one of them.
Heed your elders and watch your
Age needs to catch up, old man.
I'm too weak to move.
Damn.
I'm too weak to move. My age. I'm too weak to move. I leave the rest to my age.
Come on, old man.
I'm too weak to move. Moving hard.
You know what? Give a little sacrifice now. And I want to see, like I said, if the lizard men have a little page. We don't know anything about them that I know of. Long windpipe. Long windpipe. Wasted. The interlude in time.
I heard her voice in my head.
It wasn't meant to be this way.
Wait.
I heard her.
So, what was it? The king was a powerful ruler. He managed to obtain practically everything he desired, yet the more he gained, the more empty he felt. Everything a man gains, he will one day lose. King or no, every man is fated to die, and no one cannot take his territory to his and one cannot take his territory to the grave. The king thought he was more than that. Sheer power he had claimed had begun to give him the notion as a king. He was more than a mere mortal. You might. Yeah, I'm getting tongue-tied all the way today. You might even say he thought of himself as closer to the gods. A god king could not simply die of old age like a mere human. Even if gods were able to die, the world would suffer for it. Eventually, the king proclaimed his divinity and began the search for eternal life so they could become more than human. How could a man claim eternal life? How could a man approach these gods? The king summoned wise men from all corners of the earth to find the answers to these riddles. Amongst them was one sorcerer. Even amongst sorcerers, the man was seen as an outsider. He lived according to his whims, refusing to abide by the code. He was obsessed with the pursuit of a certain black-white. The question of whether or not this black-white even existed was in doubt. So dubious was it that most thought it a mere myth, a fairy tale. It was obvious that there were no sorcerers amongst them who could perform the white. It was said the white could grant immortality and eternal youth. In existence was glimpsed in ancient texts, and there was none who knew the truth of it. This was the mysterious white that the sorcerer sought. As whether the sorcerer himself hungered for immortality or eternal youth, not quite. His motives was only simply curiosity, the desire to witness an unknown sorcery. The king, on the other hand, did not care what means were undertaken towards the end of gaining immortality. Your interests were aligned. The king took an interest in the sorcerer's tale and pledged to assist him in his quest. With the king's coffers at his disposal, the sorcerer summoned his fellow scholars, forming a society wise in the subjects of the history and artifacts. He dispatched the society's members across the world, hoping to gather information that would lead to the discovery of the white. With time, they happened upon the lead of reference in an ancient tome to a near-forgotten white called Elixir. If it had been created by chance long ago, it was easy to understand why it had not been passed down. Anyone who understands the rules of this world would know something had happened to the person who performed the rite. Such are the laws of desire and their price. One must pay a suitable price to see his desires granted. The logic of it is simply in the extreme. The greater the wish, the greater the sacrifice demanded. Such has the law of this world ever been. The price of the white was described in a tome. The sacrifice to be paid for eternal life was oneself. How do you sacrifice yourself for eternal life? What? The entire explanation of the white elixir was hard to follow. Take the likely example that it was an accident. Surely the man who made eternal life possible must have considered the philosophical question of what human life is. Perhaps that is why the description of the white is so abstract. The tome gave the following hint. Man has always been granted eternal life, though he does not realize it. Man is too fearful of the death of the individual. Though an individual may perish, the life of his race approaches immortality. By leaving descendants, the life of human race is prolonged. One might even suggest, if you consider a man's descendants and extensions of his self, his life is indeed eternal. However, mankind cannot take this view. Why is that? It is because man has self-awareness. They see only gloom in the end of consciousness. The death of an individual and the grief that comes with it is a trial particular to mankind. A self-awareness is an obstacle that prevents mankind from enjoying the immortality that has always been afforded to the race, to his race. Then one needs only remove that obstacle. By discarding the shell of individuality, one can taste immortal life. Offer yourself then. That is the price of eternal life. Thus did the tome lay out the law of the white elixir. It continued with an even more abstract and description. Discard the self and become part of a greater whole of history. By tearing down the walls of individuality, one can assimilate into others without them even realizing, as if stilling one's breath? What? The moment of self is lost. So what? Like they became part of someone else but lost their consciousness? Like they exist in someone else but they're not aware of themselves? Just as there are no borders between the sea, Emil is merely a transparent soul having lost both body and consciousness. One must find a place within one's descendants living in the future. This may be called sybios, and it may also be called, how about we just call it a parasite? You can't say that we are immortal because of our children, because what happens when our children look back on their ancestors and decide they come from... Should the vessel of one body grow old and wither, one must simply travel to the next. The soul shall travel ever into the distant future, riding on the currents of memory, never drowning, never being consumed. The description of the elixir ended there. Was there anyone who could comprehend it? Perhaps none did. The fact that the elixir remained a lost light was proof enough of that. Not a single person who attempted to reproduce the light was successful. It is said the reason for this was because not a single one of them could completely cast off the self. Perhaps the self is a bedrock of all human desire. It could be cast off. If it could be cast off so easily, perhaps man would not have continued down the path of bloodshed it trends to this day. Although the attempts end in failure, those who attempt the riot did not escape unharmed. They were transformed into monsters as a result of the prices they had to pay for partially casting off the self. These monsters became known as lizardmen. No one knows what became of the tome which told the tale of the elixir, yet The fact that lizardmen are born even now tells us the tome has not been lost and continues to be read to this day. So lizardmen, oh, I would have never guessed anything remotely close to this having to be what made lizard people in this world. It's crazy how in depth into the lore this game fucking goes in. Like, Destiny wishes it fucking had story like this in the game. Destiny wishes it could tell a story like this. In a faded town full of fog. Weird. It's just a... So anyone you run into is just a failed attempt.
Voice in my head.
It wasn't meant to be this way.
It's just a failed attempt at someone trying to become immortal.
Was it Samelia? The illusion links the minds of those it swallows. Samelia's voice rang out inside me.
The apple shades. They were never meant for this.
It was a black rite they'd used, ancient and powerful. It extended the apple shade's reach across the entire world. In this new world, bereft of gods, Terwin tried to become one.
Uh-oh.
Persapius's voice was fading fast.
May the words I've been entrusted reach as many ears as possible.
He said it was his mission. As a man who'd given up his life to serve as a vessel of memory.
I fear I can do naught but leave all this to you.
He meant to entrust his memories to my own right arm. To offer up the fragment of his soul that remained as sacrifice.
No matter how dire the memory, it can still be passed on. Let it, in time, become new hope.
His final words seemed almost like a prayer.
This old man was sacrificed before by Terwin. But the illusory world created a manifestation of his soul. Now it dwells in the author's right arm, the very essence of the man's soul, along with the inherited memories of the Master of Avalon.
Shouldn't you say masters of Avalon?
You were entrusted with a world of knowledge and experience, the depth of which matches the very history of sorcery itself. Over time, the journal's author will face fate and realize what must be done.
But you know, this is starting to get kind of weird when they're talking about this, because at this point, they're aware that they're in a loop. So it's kind of weird when they're talking about the author, me, him, and that. Like, it's just like... It's kind of weird.
The collective memory passed down to each Persapius is vast. It spans far more than magic. It represents the whole of human knowledge. And what the old man strove to pass on was more than knowledge alone. I need only raise my right arm to listen to his voice within to know that.
The world is unfair at its core. To mankind, history reads as a series of cruel barbs. Death, the worst of them all. However, it is precisely because of our mortality that we endeavor to leave some form of legacy behind. For most, that legacy is children. As copies of ourselves, they take a piece of us onward to eternity. The office of Persapius, too, is charged with leaving a legacy. Delivering the wealth of human knowledge to those yet to come. When this cruel world beats you down, turn and look behind you. See the long, unbroken chain of history protected by these men. See that we frail humans have fought tooth and nail to survive this crucible. At times, that trail can stoke the fire of courage in those who come after. The memories of all those with the name of Persapius are more than just a history. They are hope. Taking in this stream of unbroken experience allows a man to see certain things. For each time mankind has cursed the world, we've loved it twice as much in return. That is why we cling to life, living between the earth and sky, why we fight to the end. To gorge ourselves on an easy life of endless dreams is to forget our animal nature. The measure of a human life is not counted in years, it's in what we leave behind in death. We're the same as beasts, desperate to leave offspring. Be it a child, an act, a single word. Some proof, once our days have ended, that we were here. Some trail. For the trail of one man's life is another's beacon of hope. Let hope remain after each of us has left to survive beyond. And as long as it endures, man's history will continue.
The trail of one man's life. The memories written within me are exactly that.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, yeah.
Heirlooms of the lives once lived. That is why I am here, to tell their stories. So, what do you make of this?
Oh, so the fourth one wasn't actually a thing. It was just... Yeah, and that's what it locked. No new stuff here, though. Still so many offlings I haven't even found. I haven't even found any of this. So where are we at? $79. Still quite a ways off. Oh, I guess let's take a look at the... You still can't access the other one. So what happens if I get it this way?
And so, I found him. Though nothing remained. I think back.
Yeah. So yeah, it just completely locks you out of it. Ooh, there's more in this one.
I search for Magusar even now, but there's not a trace of him left. I imagine barring him alone from this dream world was the crux of their plan.
So this is still part of it then. So my theory at maybe there being an individual kind of what-if situation with each of the three factions is wrong, then.
Persepius's soul spoke from within me.
What can you leave this world?
The bonds I share with my partner. That will be my legacy. I would say this to Magasar as he fights the madness that consumes him. The bonds we share are the truest proof of our existence. I must escape this false world and hurry to his side. Terwin, Hierarch of Grimm, and creator of this illusion. Finally, my search for her bore fruit. This world was crafted to suit her whims. However, I had my doubts that my magic could even reach her. But still I fought, on and on, to shatter this illusion. Until I lost all sense of time.
This is getting weird. This is... Whoa! Oh, shit. Whoa, this... We're in the Alice place. Lovely. And I'm by myself. I gotta fight two of them by my fucking self. Well, at least they're all mobs. That's good. Oh. Oh, dear Lord, is that a face in between her fucking legs? What the fuck? I swear, who made the monster designs for this shit? No. don't give you a break to fucking absorb anything. Come on. Yoink. Let me help! Ow! That fucking hurts. Damn, they are just fucking relentless. Oh no. See, that seems to hit you no matter where you are. So, that to me tells me the only way that likely can be stopped is by using a shield, probably. Oh no. Of course it hits me. He's technically inside me. Was it dead? Oh, thank the Lord. Didn't leave a body, so. No! No, no! So I imagine this is both of them. Whole mother and whole, I would imagine. Because, I mean, they were the same person, so. Oh, do I get up? Well, I guess maybe it isn't her then. How weird that was in the Alice world. I don't remember if I did on stream or off stream, but I did take a look at the lore about Alice. When you look up the lore, she basically was looking for, I think it said she was looking for a daughter, and she made like a separate dimension. Yeah. These shit's getting weird. Sad, sad little witch.
As she set her monsters on me, she began to tell a story.
For the sake of amusement.
She said, once, long ago, there lived a girl and her young brother. Her childhood was complex, for she was born of a sorcerer and a common woman. With that parentage came a host of troubles. Her brother was a pure mage and true bred. The two of them, as children, met a nameless sorcerer. He told all manner of tales. Tales of how he built the world anew using the sacred chalice. And even the Prophet Grimm's theory of eternal recursion. The girl was awed, and in time her fondness for the man grew. The boy was envious.
But that would mean they met me, Oliblum.
We are those siblings.
Terwyn declared. Well, if I was to believe her, she was equal part a man. Two souls inhabited her body.
What?
The nameless sorcerer who was linked to Terwyn's past. Don't you remember? The name came up in the journey with Magusar as well. What brought them together?
Couldn't they use a different little picture though for the chapter? They could have made something new for these.
The nameless sorcerer had told the children,
one day, I will lose sight of myself.
it was as he'd said. He took the name of Magusar. Driven by her love, she sought a way to save the nameless sorcerer. But the brother saw his chance to win her back, and plotted the man's murder. His sister sought to stop him. There was no choice, she said. No other way to stop her brother turned monster by his jealousy. It was only after she had claimed his soul as part of her that she came to understand. Only after sacrificing him did she feel the depth of his love. A love which could not be. For all the suffering her blood had brought her, it was far worse for him. The siblings cursed their fate and raged against the unfair world. That rage became their fuel.
Oh, oop.
A love which could not be.
That was oops.
For all the suffering her blood had brought her, it was far worse for him. The siblings cursed their fate and raged against the unfair world. That rage became their fuel. They spread Grimm's prophecy, having seen the cruelty at the heart of eternal recursion. Hearing her tale, I could not help but voice the question. Had she woven this illusion to be reunited with her brother? Her expression quickly changed.
Don't think she liked that response. Okay. Well, hopefully she'll be an easy one. But why couldn't she just do that on her own terms if that was the case?
Why won't he smile for me?
Oh. Didn't see that coming! Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! I don't look good. Son of a bitch. Wow, that was fucking easy. Yeah, I was expecting like a 20-minute fight. Instead it's like whip. It was just over 2 minutes. So much for that. Waken the magic, call a great rising vine. Rest in peace, that.
Had she found her brother's soul? For the first time, I felt able to relate to the fiends rampaging before me.
Oh no. It all goes back to horror.
It's only human to want to see lost loved ones again. If such a thing could happen here, who among us would deny this dream world? Even knowing it for a false comfort, would the salvation found be any less real? Doubt gripped me like a length of heavy chain. I fell to my knees, unable to rise again. What man has never cursed the world? Never wept at life's iniquity? The force that drives her is shared by all mankind. That was when I noticed. When I understood. I suppose this sort of thing can happen in a dream world. No matter how muddled my memories, one image remains with me crystal clear. And there it was. Her face. I expect she came to ridicule me for nearly giving up. She enticed me with the same words she said when we first met.
Rise.
She said.
Well, for Terwyn, it was her younger brother. For the author of the journal, it was someone he was no less able to forget.
Yeah, I have to say, it's weird that the book keeps saying the author. Because at this point, we know the book is the author. So I don't know why it keeps referring to himself as the author.
Imagine that. A reunion that was only possible within the dream world.
What about the afterlife? Or inside people's arms?
Our author was no doubt aghast.
Dead souls bound to the flesh of the living linger here. Apparently, it seemed, she was no exception. For there she was, my old partner, just as she looked then. The question always plagued me. Did she hate me for what I'd done? Would she see who I'd become and forgive me for sacrificing her? I had told her nothing, I realized. All this while, I just listened to her voice, not answering. Surely there was no end to the things I wanted to say to her. But here she was at last, and I had no idea where to begin.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, who would expect that kind of opportunity here?
All right, let's go. Come on.
Even then, during the ordeal, she always walked a step ahead. As if she knew the answer lay around the next turn.
So, aren't you keeping someone on the outside waiting?
Standing next to her, a wave of powerful nostalgia washed over me. The real world's not all bad. The vivid memory of those days with her told me as much.
Wait, I gotta fight her again? Okay, well maybe that explains why the first one was so easy. So is she gonna fight with me doing this? That would be a little epic, actually. A partner in time. Epic.
Now get moving. The ordeal continues.
Yes, I did try to make that joke here for you. Well, let's see how much harder she is then. Ow, my face. No, bitch. Ow. Oh, she can teleport? Hell? Hell, they went behind her. Right there, stay right now. definitely doing a lot more and has more health. They definitely beefed her up. She is really beefed up. She's not even orange yet. That's one. Yeah, knocked down one more time. God. Why would quick? And we want to have tokens, so let's go ahead and hit upward. everyone enjoys some nice tokens, yeah? Nope. There we go. And there's a arm. This is gonna work.
I don't want to die!
She's getting super pissed. Oh, Lord. It's almost gone. Stay right there. What in the hell? was close. I'd be kind of curious to see how they move in the air. Your soul. She is fucking just doesn't want to die. No. Come on, lady. Hey, on. Not much. Just, you know, an illusionary dream world where everyone's,
I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
Come on. Ugh, I hate that stomp attack it does, though. Charges heal. Doesn't want to die. Finally. Lord. She was way harder that time. Well, maybe harder was not quite what I should say. More like incredibly long lasting than 2 minutes. Anywho, how are you doing today? Oh, we're gonna have a... Okay, I was gonna be like, are we having an actual cutscene or something here? But how you doing today, Alan? Enjoying the cloudy light wane? Dang. First time was just over 2 minutes. That was almost 20 minutes. Me and my big mouth when I said I was expecting it to be like 20 minutes. It's like, oh! Why did it start waning harder? At least, I guess maybe waning harder on your area, maybe. 3 things unlocked. Yikes, you must be getting some heavy-ass wane right now, then.
And you'll not regret it.
Terwyn spat the question at me through ragged breaths. If I ended her, this dream world would likely end as well. It would mean farewell. For Terwyn and her brother. For me, with dear Sortiara. In all likelihood, the parting would prove final this time.
It actually sounds like he's breaking in the tears.
I looked at Sortiara. Her face was exactly as it had been the day our ordeal began. It stabbed at my heart. She looked the same for a reason. Her time had stopped then, and I'd gone on living without her. We would never inhabit the same time again, she and I. This Sortiara was a ghost, an echo of a memory, become an illusion. Sad though it was, my duties lay elsewhere, beyond this place. I turned my back on her, for the sight of her face chips away at my resolve. I raised my hand to Terwyn's body, prepared to finish my business. All of a sudden, a second, thinner arm appeared. Sortiara placed her hand on mine. As the illusion crumbled, she offered me a faint smile. You chose well, it seemed to say.
Saying farewell again was painstaking, but even so, the author left the illusion behind. For the author knew that Magusar could not be left alone, but even so...
Opening? But there's 2 story sections?
The memories of Terwyn and her brother flowed into me, together with their souls. I met them once, long ago when they were still children. No, that was Illicibra's memory, not mine. An after-image of their youthful faces remains engraved in my arm. It's plausible, assuming Illusibra's partner and the man Terwin fell in love with are one and the same. The man who rekindled a dead world with the chalice. The one who took up the name of Magusar, his memories in chaos. The man I called a partner. Magusar's gift was not for seeing the future. No, his visions were of the past, muddled fragments of old memories. He saw how the world repeated, what mechanisms were behind it. What he called premonitions were likely just glimpses of memories of before.
That makes sense, but then he said he remembers seeing us destroy the world. Which again likely goes to the likelihood that the canon ending of the original release was the sacrifice ending.
The nameless sorcerer strove to change the world. His words took root and spread as prophecy. So Grimm was born. Terwin was moved more than any. Perhaps his words had too great an influence on her. If fate had been changed only slightly, she may never have become the monster she did. If, perhaps, the nameless one she loved had not succumbed, if he had remained the same... Terwin fought to change the world in her own way. Indeed, she fought to be reunited with her brother. But if that was her sole want, she needn't change the world. Greater than any selfish desire was her love for that sorcerer. Her reverence for him drove her to save the world in his place. In her own way. Such was the influence the man's words bore on the world. He had already been fighting a long, long time before we met. Struggling against unjust fate. It was too great a task for any one man. I couldn't simply leave it to him. Even if he did come from an older world, he was still my partner in this one.
Now, the people you've encountered are linked by the nameless sorcerer. Illusibra's partner and the man that Terwin admired were the same person. And that person is Magusar. Our author tried to escape the illusory world, to reunite with Magusar in reality. When the illusory world crumbled, what did our author see?
I would imagine the world destroyed with everyone in an illusion.
The dream world Terwin had crafted began to crumble. As the fragments rained down, I saw Sortiara's lips move.
You're leaving, aren't you?
I would never see her again. No price, no sacrifice could hurt as deeply as that realization.
The Red Sorcerer. She calls for you.
I nodded, but my feet refused to carry me away from her. I had still not spoken a word. The emotion surged and rose in me, but I could not speak. More than anything, I think I'd always wanted to apologize. Since the day I'd ended her life. A cowardly, selfish urge, I know. To ask forgiveness of the woman I had murdered.
It's all right.
I watched her lips form the words.
I was always with you.
I found salvation in those words, though they made our inexorable parting all the harder. I was cursed to lose her a second time. Her hand came to rest on my right arm.
This is my home now. We can meet any time you wish.
She smiled softly as the world around us grew brighter. Amidst the spreading glow, her voice washed over me like a tender caress along an open wound. She said,
Please, don't make that face.
And so the illusory world crumbled. Only the memory of that unexpected reunion survived. Time was set back into motion, and the world careered towards its end. The author was very determined. From long ago, Magusar had fought bravely against this cruel, senseless world. Knowing this, how could the author ever leave Magusar alone again?
So, my prediction did not obviously happen where I thought each of these would be like an alternate timeline of results. So, that was very unexpected. Some other stuff unlocked. Stable packs. Figured some new stories would freaking open up. Still very weird to me. So how many is this one? So assuming it's something similar, it'll be like 3 with 2. But this one only had 1 with 3 missions. Well, I mean, technically they had 3 missions still. It just was sorted out differently. Weird.